Gosh, it feels like I was here very recently.
Yeah.
I know that we begin Black History Month today, and I want to read just a quote from a wonderful soul. I think you may have heard these words before. Let's see if you recognize these. I am the place where Almighty God shines through. For God and I are one, not two. I need not worry, fret, or plan. For God has need of me, where and as I am. If I am relaxed and free, God will work out his purposes through me. Does anyone recognize those words? Moselle Davis. This is a mantra she repeats to herself regularly. And she shared this with me, 3 years ago this month when I came here. And I videotaped it, and I thought it would be fun to share. And I kept thinking, Moselle, be in the audience. So I'm going to just share it, and maybe she's sharing it on the internet. But isn't that beautiful? And this is, Moselle's a beautiful, wise soul. How old is she now?
She'll be 93 this month.
She'll be 93 February 14th. Okay. Yeah. So my dad is 96. We both have some wise souls in our lives. So, and this quote is about being. And I want to speak to you about being today, how we match our doing with our being. Let's see, your spiritual to-do list. Do, be, do. And we're going to look at how we merge those things together. It's not just about doing, it's about who are we being while we're doing all of our doing. And I want to just look at that with some ideas and some quotes and some stories to share. So that is the question: how do we stay in an awake state of being? Because we all have to-do lists, right? Anyone have a to-do list? Bill, do you have 12 to-do lists?
Yeah.
I was on tour in Italy with Bill, and he was really enjoying the trip and constantly serving people back home the whole time. He was it's like he was two people at once, and it's beautiful seeing all the ways you serve. I really mean that, Bill. You're a very giving soul. So we all have our to-do lists, right? So I have a question. Do you think that when you were a soul up in heaven before coming into this earth, were you up there thinking, I can't wait to get to earth to do all my to-do lists? Probably not. I think as souls we want to come and expand who we are and be deeper into our beingness. Life is doing. There's a lot to do. And again, the question is, who are you being while you're so busy doing? I think when I was here 2 weeks ago, I talked about how I can get into go mode, just and we just to stop and find that place of peace, that stillness that we want to live from. Don't we? Don't we want to live from peace inside and then bring that to our world? I was many years ago, and I've been a student of Course in Miracles for quite a while, and one of the lessons, if you've done the course, you might recognize this phrase: I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Have you heard that before, maybe? It's a great phrase. I am not a body. So this is speaking to the spirit we are, the soul. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me, that pure essence, that Christ self. And I love words. I noticed there's a second meaning hiding in those words. And what I saw was that phrase, I am still. We're invited, be still and know I am God, that I am God inside. So what if we looked at that still as the stillness? I am not a body, I am free, I am still. I am a place of stillness, just as God created me that way. I am still. And I think that our gift is to keep coming back to that stillness, that peace that lives in us. Being, that place of being. Be still. That's about being. That's about presence. I was, years ago, I lived in Boulder, Colorado for a year. And at the time, there was I believe it was called a nuclear weapons plant on the outskirts of town. And a lot of the, kind of peace-loving people didn't really like that. and they were out there holding a protest. It was called Rocky Flats Nuclear Weapons Plant, I believe. And they're out there at Rocky Flats, huge group of protesters, waving peace flags and saying, we don't want war, we want peace. And I remember that night on the local news, they were interviewing one of the, like a spokesman for the group, and there was, peace flag flying behind him. And I was really struck with the words he used. He said that we're fighting for peace. And he seemed angry. So I didn't see any peace in his face, and just the phrase fighting for peace. It's like, their doing and their being weren't really matching. Those words and his energy, out of kilter, right? Fighting for peace. I have to say that I remember in college, I was in the architecture school restroom. I looked on, there's always graffiti on the walls, and one of them, I'm going to clean it up for church, but it spoke to this almost word for word. It said, fighting for, hope you don't mind my language, fighting for peace is like screwing for virginity. It's like, it doesn't match up. And what we're here to do, let your doing match your being. So they're busy fighting for peace. And it reminds me of another quote from A Course in Miracles, and it's very simple, and we kind of all know this, but I love the way it's phrased, where it says, the cost of giving is receiving. The cost of giving is receiving. For me, what that's saying is whatever you're giving out, you're receiving it back. Whatever you're giving out, you're living in. Whatever energy you're putting out, you're living in that energy. It's not just going over there. So he's busy being angry for peace, but he's not getting peace. He's living in anger. What are we putting out into our world? What is our being? What is our presence in the process of our doing? And I thought of a metaphor that I've used in one of my workshops, and it goes like this. Let's say there's somebody that you're in a relationship with, and they're standing in front of you. And in each of your two hands, you have little glass vials with lids on them. And one of them has a beautiful perfume, and the other glass vial has the smell of skunk. Now you get to decide which one you're going to open up and offer this person you're in a relationship with. And whatever you open up, you're going to smell it too. You can't give skunk to somebody else without smelling it. The cost of giving is receiving. What is our beingness? How is it matching our doingness? And what is the effect in our lives? In 2003, I was on one of my trips to Italy. I've been there something like 67 times now. It's a wonderful part of my life. I was there to lead a tour or to sing for a conference, and I was staying with some friends first, and they picked me up at the train station in their town. And this was March of 2003, and you may or may not remember this. This is as we were on the brink of the Second Gulf War. And the 20-minute drive from the train station to her house, and I was staying with her family, her kids, her husband, I was like, oh my God, like on every other, and these were like apartment buildings and down these different streets, 3-4 stories tall. And for the 20-minute drive, every other house or balcony had peace flags flying off of them. There's just peace, peace, peace. Like everyone, they were just begging, please don't start another war. I could not believe what I was seeing. And their doing was matching their being. Their being was matching their doing. They wanted peace, they were expressing it into the world. And I was thinking we would never see this in America. Like street after street of flags for peace. It was the word pace, P-A-C-E. I was just so struck, like, wow. I just feel the love and the desire for peace. And so that was just moving for me. I arrived that night, we hung out, and then the next morning they were off to their work, and the kids went off to school, and I was left alone in this house. And I started to hear a little song in my head about that. It was inspired by that experience. And some of the words were in the song, let there be peace. Let there be love among all people. But then halfway through the song, it evolved to, let us be peace. Let us be peace. And let there be peace, that's kind of out there, isn't it? Let there be peace. No, how about if we be that? Let our being match what we want to do in the world. Let us be peace. That was a good shift. I want to tell another story, and this is where someone very well known told me how to be. They didn't tell me what to do, go do this, do that. It's kind of a fun, cute little story. So I'm 16 years old, living in Houston. I grew up where it also doesn't get cold like this. I don't know what happened. We were going to see my grandparents were visiting in town. Normally they would stay with us, but my grandpa was going to a big convention in downtown Houston, so we had to go meet them at a hotel. Then we get up to the 5th floor, we're going down the corridor to their room, and just before the door before their hotel room was wide open. I just looked in, there were these two, like 20-something men, kind of dressed almost hippie-ish, and they were both teasing their afro kind of big hair in the mirrors. And I said, oh my God, I think that's Mitch Mitchell and Noel Redding. Those are the two sidemen to Jimi Hendrix. This was 1968. And then a second later, behind us, I'm there with my mom, my dad, and 4 of us kids. We're all teenagers. And someone behind us said, hey, I just spoke to Jimi Hendrix's manager on the elevator. Jimmy is sitting in the lobby right now on a couch, and no one's around him. And we said, hi, Grandma, hi, Grandpa, and we ran back to the elevator, down to the lobby, and there he was, just sitting on a couch, and no one paying any attention. As the 4 of us walked up, and I shook his hand, and we talked with him, and he said, hey, would you like my autograph? Sure. And so he got up and walked over to the hotel, registration desk, asked for paper, and he did all these signatures for all of us. And I guess I'm the only OCD sibling, because I'm the only one who still has that piece of paper. And I want to share it with you. Can you put that up? Oh, here it is. To Charley, be groovy, Jimi Hendrix. He didn't say to Charley, go get it done, go make things happen. He told me, be groovy. And you know what? Ever since then, I've been groovy. But isn't that a fun story? And again, it's about being. Be that. Okay, you can take that down. Thank you. So one other little fun thing about that is whenever I meet a guitar player, I'll just say, shake my hand. And then afterwards I'll say, you just shook the hand that shook Jimi Hendrix's hand. It's like 1 degree of separation. It's just kind of fun to do that. So I have a question. Do you care what people think? Do you care what people think?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I do at times too. And do you let them control how you're being? I have a story that happened to me, and this is, I was married before to a woman named Lori, and my son is now 37. This story happened when he was 3. And we just had dinner and had a little bit of chocolate after dinner for dessert, just a little candy bar. And then put it away, and we're sitting watching TV in the living room, and our 3-year-old son, Jeremy, he suddenly gets up and walks over toward the kitchen, stands in this kind of opening between the living room and the kitchen. He turns at us and says, we want chocolate. We said, well, no, Jeremy, you had your chocolate, we're done with chocolate. And then we turn around, we're watching more 30-something or whatever it was back then. And a second later, we notice he's not around, and he said, no, Jeremy, no more chocolate. And then he says, well, then me no ask you. Puts his hands on his hands and his hips, says, well, then me no ask you. It's like he just erased if the question was ever asked, right? And then he disappears. We think, well, it's on the 3rd shelf above the counter, he'll be fine. But a minute later, we think, maybe we should go check. He had pushed a chair up to the counter, gotten up, he was standing on the counter, about to reach the chocolate on the 3rd shelf before we caught him. But the reason I'm telling you this story is he didn't care. His doing was matching his being. This is what he wanted. He wasn't going to let the world stop him. So I want to ask you, what situation in your life, maybe you could do the same thing? And I actually want to do this little practice. Would you put your hands on your hips like this right now? Repeat after me. Well, me no ask you. Well, then me no ask you. Do it again. Well, then me no ask you. your being match your heart, not what other people are telling you.
Yeah, give up on that shit.
Well, let me know, ask you. Maya Angelou had a quote about this, and I'm sure you've heard this one. And it's really about how your being speaks louder than your actions or your words. She said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." And that's about being, isn't it? Being. Who you're being while you're so busy doing. I'll start to wrap this up. There's an old Buddhist phrase about chop wood, carry water. Have you heard this one? The question is, what do you do before enlightenment? Chop wood, carry water. In other words, your chores, your to-do list. Okay. What do you do after enlightenment? Chop wood, carry water. You know, you're doing, and then you're expanding your being, but you still have doing. You're blending the two in life. That's all we all do. The reason we're in this room, we have to do our lives, but we want to do it from a space of being, awakened being. So we're bringing together heaven and earth, body and soul, blending it in our lives, our daily lives, love and inner peace while doing your earthly life. We're not alternating, we're looking to blend them into one experience, one activity. Blend it, merge it. And I just want to finish by saying maybe your doing and your being have been a lot like strangers in the night. Now it's time for them to be friends or even lovers, to blend together, to dance together, and to truly do, be, do.